This thing's gonna drive me crazy. It so let me see. I didn't put the link in the chat. Thank you, Sharon, for reminding me. Yeah, I didn't put the link in the chat because I didn't have the link yet, but you're right though. I would have totally forgot because I'm totally frazzle brained half the damn time. So thank you for helping me be a little less frazzle brained. And I will find that link. And if I don't put it in there, just say it again. As many times as you need to. I see it here, and it's the page is refreshing. I'm gonna pull this up, and it's really good. And here's the thing: I kind of feel generally like, um, if you're talking about what it's going to require for you to kind of get where you want to get to economically, you have to have a customized plan for that. You can't just do what you're told and expect that to work out for you. Unfortunately, the American economic system's not really built that way. It doesn't work if it doesn't work if nobody wants to like get a job or whatever, right? It just doesn't work. So, so one of the things that I would say is that the lack of financial literacy in America, it's a problem for the country, but it's an opportunity for you. There are so many things that you can learn that are very basic things that would make a massive difference. And also the fact that you live in the richest country in the world should not be something that we forget about in the midst of all the other problems that America has. I mean, sure, America is not a perfect country, but the economic piece is something that America kind of gets right on a certain level from a certain perspective, right? America does have the ability to generate massive amounts of wealth for people that understand how the country works and where the money's located. And the stock market is a great catalyst for that. Right now, the market is just doing really great things. I don't know what it's doing today, but I know overall, when Trump started pushing his tariffs, I saw a lot of people getting so caught up in the politics of it. Like, oh, this guy's evil and this is bad, that they forgot about the economics of it. They didn't realize that is while you're sitting there getting mad at the president, you should probably be investing, or you're going to be mad at yourself. Because what happened, a lot of you know this, is that the market eventually recovered, and when it recovered, a lot of money got made. A lot of you in here, I know for a fact, for example, you own stock in companies like Tesla, and a lot of people didn't see. And while we're sitting around talking about whether or not we think Elon Musk is a Nazi, Tesla went up 51%. 51%. So again, I'm not saying that you should condone him or vote for someone else. I'm saying that I think sometimes we get so distracted, right? And my focus is, and this is my superpower, and probably maybe it's a deficiency, maybe it's a reflection of some sort of mental health issue I have. My wife says that I might be on the spectrum because I have a really strong ability to focus. I go into like a zone. Even when I work, for a long time in our marriage, she didn't understand why I would have to go in my office and shut the door and lock it. It's because I get into a flow state. And when I'm really focused and I almost like meditative, and for me it's very spiritual almost, I connect to what I'm doing. I don't just see it and understand it, I feel it, right? And so I will say this. I'm telling you that there's a tremendous power in being able to focus. That's my point. What I want you to do is I want you to focus on what's required for you to get what you need. Focus on what it is you want. What is it that you want? What do you need? What matters to you? And then focus on that. Because if you don't focus on that, there's so many things you can get caught up in, so many directions you can be pulled in, so many distractions you can have. And I just encourage you to kind of do that. And I think sometimes what happens is we get focused, but on things that just don't amount to anything. Like I saw this beautiful graduation at an HBCU, and I guess the people at the university wanted to be hip and cool. So after they at the end of the graduation, the president of the school stands up and he says, "Where them fans at?" And all the students who graduated all put out their fans and they started doing the boots on the ground dance. Whoa, 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 I got my boots on the ground, right? And it looked like a lot of fun. And I'm not making fun of it or anything like that or saying that it was bad or stupid. I mean, it's cool to have fun. Fun is good. But what was interesting to me is I said, man, and this is the part of me that probably causes me to lose friends, but I literally was like, man, what if we were what if we were as committed to starting black-owned businesses as we are to dancing? Like what if we dance, what if we were as committed to healthy families as we are to playing sports? What if that was just like an obsession? Like you, if you ain't building a business, then you ain't black. If you're not investing, then you ain't black. If you're not trying to build a healthy family with a black man or black woman and raise some healthy black kids, then you ain't black. Like what if that was where the energy was? What if like we just had an obscene incest, no, or an insane obsession? I'm gonna say I said obscene incession. What if we had an insane obsession with just like we're going to be excellent, and we're going to build infrastructure, and we're going to really really test everything that we do to ensure that it truly links to the black excellence we aspire to. What does black excellence really look like? What does that mean? What does that even, I told you about my friend 19 Keys, who made a great point where he said he thinks black excellence is a scam. I don't know if I'd call it a scam, but I definitely say that perhaps it's misdirected. I think that I think I remember seeing Diddy, back when Diddy was like a black American hero, and he was one of the black people we were told to look up to the most because he was on the covers of magazines. He was also telling people who to vote for. I remember Diddy took a picture of Cardi B and her husband, and they were standing in front of a Lamborghini, and he wrote "Black Excellence" #Black Excellence. And I didn't see excellence because I was looking beneath the surface. Nothing against Cardi B, but I was looking at it and I said, okay, so black excellence for us is a stripper who becomes a rapper who's pretty vulgar and, just, raps about her vagina, and her husband who, he produces music that encourages young black men to be violent. And as a reward, Dr. Claude Anderson refers to this as meritorious manumission, as their economic reward. This is where the finance and the economic lesson comes into play. White people, Jewish people, it's the people that own the record labels, give them lots of money and status and material objects to reflect the fact that you did a really good job, right? We want to put out whatever people are going to buy, whatever toxic message, resonates, because we know that you're a mentally ill group of people. You're struggling. You're a little bit sick because of what you've gone through. So we want to feed the sickness the same way you give drugs to a drug addict. Right? We want to feed this sickness, and we're going to make a few $1 billion from that, and we're going to break you off a couple dollars so you'll feel good about yourself. And then someone like a Diddy, who is, doing only God knows what at these parties that involve drugs and all kinds of sexual chaos, this person brands you and labels you to in front of millions of people as black excellence. That's a very confusing message, I think, for young people. Because I think it also kind of speaks to this question of like, do we really ever sit back and ask ourselves, what do we really want? What are we really aiming for? What is black excellence? What does that even look like? So I'm going to propose something that we can consider as a definition of black excellence. Okay, you ready? It's not the definition. It is a definition. It is me thinking out loud, for those that are following what I'm saying, and asking you to consider this, as you shape what black excellence means to you. I think black excellence starts with having a strong community. I think that black excellence would mean, having a community where if you drive through a black neighborhood, you're going to see businesses everywhere. You're going to see educated people everywhere. Everyone's going to be safe. You're going to see connection. You're going to see the backyard barbecues, and you're also going to see the corporate office across the street. You're going to see, good people doing good things to each other. Give me a yes if you agree with me, that this could be the foundation of a black excellence definition. Tell me if you get what I'm saying. If you agree with that, right? Like just going through the hood, everything's peaceful, everything's loving, everyone's treating each other well. Everyone wants everyone to do well. Everyone's happy. It's Sunday afternoon. You're playing your music. Everybody's feeling good, right? And there are communities like that. They have existed, all throughout history, but that to me it would be a type of black excellence. And what else would be black excellence? I think various forms of economic sustainability would be black excellence, right? Like if you have, millions and millions and millions of black children that were raised to do a couple of things. Number one, to put the black community at the top of their priority list. They're raised to understand that serving your people, serving your community, serving your hood, serving your family is the most important priority. That you don't have to go chase white folks in order to have access to the things that you need in order to feel validated and feel special, right? You don't have, I'm not going to go do that job that doesn't agree with my ethics. I'm not going to go go run off to Hollywood where I can go get hooked on drugs and engage in all kinds of ridiculous behavior in order to be accepted. I'm not going to go across town and beg for a job when I've got skills that my people need. I'm going to keep my skills right here. That to me would be like a black excellence when you figure out how to develop economic systems that encourage and incentivize the correct behavior, right? So that instead of the economic system incentivizing everybody to abandon the family, abandon the community, to leave the hood and go to their separate jobs, they're incentivized to do the opposite, to come to their community, to come back to their family, spend that 40, 50 hours a week pouring into the people that you care about, the places that you care about, the neighborhood you care about, right? And then what's going to happen as a result is that neighborhood's going to become a black excellence neighborhood. It's going to have infrastructure, it's going to have construction, it's going to have great businesses, it's going to have technical expertise. You're going to have an AI data center, next to it, maybe a business incubator where billions of dollars in funding is flowing to start, create the next startup. So young people will grow into that. They'll be what I refer to, every time anybody from the All Black National Convention or anybody in my group has a baby, I say that is a B1 baby. Like, one of our team members, Chanel, just gave birth to a preemie baby. Poor thing, she was only about a 1.5 pounds when she was born, and she was in the NICU for a long time, and they had to help her breathe. And as she got stronger every day, I said, "Oh, she's gonna make it because that's a B1 baby, and B1 babies are the strongest babies. They're the best babies. Some of you are having B1 babies, and these are kids that are raised in a culture, right? It's a culture that encourages them, that teaches them, that nurtures them, that puts them ahead of the curve. It's like a type of excellence. It's like a Wakanda that's real. It's not a Wakanda invented by Disney. It's not a Wakanda that you can only find in the movie theater. It's not a Wakanda that is a figment of some white man's imagination. It's a Wakanda that you actually build. Building Wakanda takes work, but you can build a Wakanda, right? The Wakanda that I see is one where this baby is raised in a culture where she is just inundated with love. She's covered with guidance. She's protected every step of the way by a healthy mother, healthy father. She's got friends that are also into the things she's into, like science and math and literature and whatever it is that inspires her. And then also she knows that she's walking into a culture that deserves honor and respect, right? A culture that has dignity attached to it. She's part of a heritage. Maybe she comes to the All Black National Convention and she sees all the black excellence that's there and says, "I can't wait till I get my turn to be on that stage or to be part of the infrastructure." Do you see what I mean? So when she gets older and she starts to become a productive member of society, she can't be kidnapped into the slave trade called corporate America. She's not going to be pulled away to the point of no return where she ends up thinking that in order for me to be somebody in this world, I got to leave behind the people that I started with. The people that got me here are not the ones who can take me to the level that I want to get to. So my job is to leave the neighborhood, but that shouldn't be the outcome. We created that child. We invested in that child. We nurtured that child. So that child is one of our assets. It's one of our assets. See, what you got to understand, I want you to really see this. When you think about like the Negro Leagues became a farm league for the Major League Baseball. They became a farm league because you took the players that nobody wanted. You took the players when they weren't famous. You took the players before they were fully developed. You spent all this time getting them ready, making them great, and then you only made them great so you could sell them to somebody else. So somebody else could come along and pluck your best and brightest and pull them out of your ecosystem, which damages the system. Do you understand? It's no different from a relationship where you don't put all those years into making that man, you don't help that man look good. You don't put him through medical school. You have helped him to become the man that he eventually becomes. He's in shape now. He's making money now. He's looking good now. And then you pass him over to a white woman so he can go get married to her. That would not be fair to you. That doesn't make sense. That's kind of crazy. You made all the investment and somebody else gets all the benefit. So really, to some extent, I think the same thing happens with our children. We're the ones who nurture them when nobody wants them. We're the ones who love them. We're the ones who feed them. We're the ones who raise them. So we should be the ones who keep them. But we lose a lot of our kids. The corporate plantation scoops them up, promises them a dream, and maybe they want to go to Hollywood. Maybe they want to go, work for Nike or something, right? Right? And then, and then they go live in a white neighborhood, and whatever. And we see that as a badge of honor. We clap for that as opposed to saying, well, why don't you want to come back home? You can come back home too. But here's the thing, though. In order to get them to come back home, you got to give them something to come home to. Do you understand? Right? So maybe they don't want to come home to a broken family that's full of trauma and drama and terrible things. Maybe they don't want to come home to a community where they might get shot walking down the street. Maybe they don't want to come home to a community that has no businesses, that's a freaking economic desert because everybody abandons that community so they can get up and go to work for a white man every morning. Maybe they don't want that. I don't blame them for not wanting that. So the question is, imagine this. Put yourself in the mind of a 21-year-old college graduate who is bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to take on the world, and they're excited because they got this advanced degree in some specialized topic, and they're looking for a place to apply their skill. Can they even come to our community and apply that skill? And in many cases, they can't. They can't go to our community because there's no job creators there. We don't produce enough people creating jobs. Why is that? Well, because when I come along and say, "Hey, we need to create more jobs instead of just chasing jobs," I get people that will give me so much pushback. Like, "Oh, you're uppity. Ain't nothing wrong with having no job." I didn't say there's anything wrong with having a job. I'm saying that we need to create jobs. That's why I actually like jobs. I think jobs are good, but somebody's got to create the damn thing, right? Everybody can't be a passenger in the car. Somebody's got to know how to drive, right? And everybody can't just be a driver of a car. Somebody's got to learn how to build a damn car, because if you are just a passenger, or maybe you learn how, or you graduate to become a driver, but you can never get ownership of a car, then all you're going to be doing is driving Miss Daisy. So here's the thing. We're trained to either work for a business or to manage a business, but we are not trained, and even in our HBCUs, we're not trained to build the damn business. Who's gonna build the business? Somebody's got to do the work. Somebody needs to do the heavy lifting. Somebody needs to build the infrastructure, because if you don't build your own infrastructure, then all your labor will go to supporting the infrastructure that was built by somebody else. Do you get what I'm saying? Is this getting through our thick heads? Do we understand this? I know I sound crazy saying this. I need to calm down, but Lord Jesus. Stop calling me uppity, because I want us to be the beneficiaries of our training. You spent the 4 years in college. You went and got the MBA. You know how to run the Burger King, but you got to learn how to build one. We gotta, because I know finance, and I know who benefits from all the hard work that goes into running a Burger King. It's the shareholders. It's the people who own the damn thing. It's not the point. It's not the employees and the community of the employees. So my point is to say that when you're talking about black excellence, black excellence needs to go back to family. Are we training ourselves on what it takes to build an excellent family? Have you ever even taken a class on raising children? The answer is probably no. You're just wigging it. So you're managing your $1 million asset just by the skin of your ass. Like, you're just hoping for the best, rolling the dice, shaking the bones. Like, I hope that what I'm doing is working. You ain't validated nothing. You spent 4 years in college studying for a degree that's gonna let you go work for that white man, but you didn't spend not 10 minutes learning how to properly raise a child, how to properly raise a black child in a racist society. Shame on you. Shame on you. I don't want to make nobody feel bad, but shame on us, all of us. Have you ever taken a class on being a husband? It's hard. I don't know. Did you read a book about it? Watch some YouTube videos? Just talk to some husbands to kind of learn how to handle situations? Or are you mismanaging the $1 million asset called the black family? Are you mismanaging the asset because you literally never got any training on how to properly guide that asset? See, what you got to understand about assets and wealth, this is important. Most of y'all know, because you've come to class before, you know that most wealth does not involve money, right? You do know this, right? Most wealth is non-financial. But the other thing about assets, let me tell you a little secret about an asset. Receiving an asset does not make you wealthy by itself. And giving you an asset doesn't mean that it's going to increase your wealth. Um, you have to know how to manage the asset. You have to know how to manage it. If I give you a car, that's not going to guarantee that you'll get from point A to point B. If you never learn how to drive, I might have just given you a weapon that will allow you to kill yourself. So in order for you to get the most out of that asset called a car, you're gonna have to learn how to drive the damn thing. So a family is a big, gigantic financial asset. It's like giving somebody giving you a major corporation or giving you a vehicle. And as a father, as a mother, you need to learn how to drive. And the question I ask you is, where did you learn how to drive? Who taught you how to drive? Did your deadbeat daddy teach you how to drive when he went off and got hooked on heroin and abandoned the family? Did your mama teach you how to drive when she couldn't keep a man more than 10 minutes? I'm just being real here. I'm being honest. Who's teaching you how to drive? I personally think we should learn how to drive from people who are good drivers. I believe that. I think, and here's the thing. When you're talking about black excellence starts with excellent black families, whatever that looks like for you. It starts with excellent black children. If you have excellent people and they build excellent family institutions, then what you're doing is you're creating the building blocks for an excellent community. You're built. If you have a community is nothing more than a collection of people and families and groups, churches, businesses, whatever, schools, all that. So if you create excellent people that are forming excellent groups, then you form an excellent community. That's what black excellence looks like to me. So I'm done talking about that point. I'm going to answer your questions now. And I hope I didn't offend too many people. You always offend somebody when you talk about stuff like this because I don't think we talk about this enough. But I don't apologize for any of it. Because I believe this to the core of my soul. All right. Okay, so moving on. Really quickly, today at noon, we're doing stock market training. So if you want to join us, just go to drboystockmarket.com. That's where the Stock Market Investors Club is. So feel free to go to drboystockmarket.com. All right, so I'm answering the questions that are inside the Zoom. Those who want to join the Zoom or come into the Zoom, make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning on your phone to 87948, and I'll send you an invitation to join the Zoom. All right. And also, just so you know, Zoom sends out reminders via email. So check your email, and you'll every morning you'll get a reminder from Zoom about this class. That's how you know to come into the Zoom. All right. All right. So Karen Terry says, repeat the acronym for POISE, please. Thank you. Yeah, POISE is one of our core models that we use inside our Black Business School for Children called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. And POISE stands for Producer, Owner, Investor, Saver, Entrepreneur. Producer, Owner, Investor, Saver, Entrepreneur. If you want to have economic power, train your children to memorize POISE. Producer, Owner, Investor, Saver, Entrepreneur. In America, certain people have money, some people don't. Certain people have power, some people are powerless. One big difference is that in America, if you want to have power, producers tend to have power, consumers do not. Owners have power, renters do not. Investors have power, spenders do not. Savers have power. People that waste their money do not. Entrepreneurs have power. People who just seek jobs tend to not have power. Doesn't mean you can't seek a job. Doesn't mean you can't consume. Doesn't mean you can't spend money. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that you need to have some balance there. So even as you work your job, I encourage you to get that side hustle, have that family business, have those family business meetings, things like that. If you want guidance on that, we've created economic elevation circles out of our summit. You can go to economicelevationcircle.com. We're going to have our first meeting very soon. And literally, that's where we're talking about 100-year family plans for businesses, things like that. That's economicelevationcircle.com. All right. Somebody type that in the chat, please. Economicelevationcircle.com. So everybody else can see it. What do you think about dividend bearing ETFs? Asked Deborah. I like them. I think they're good if you like dividend paying stocks because dividend stocks, they don't grow very much, but they do pay a certain amount of cash flow. Let's see. How would you handle high credit card debt? I would probably consider paying off the high interest debt first, and then working your way down. Paying off credit card debt, if the interest rate is high enough, can be better than investing because you're guaranteed. If your interest rate on your credit card debt is 20%, you're guaranteed a 20% return on your investment because you're by eliminating 20%, you're making 20%, if that makes any sense. Whereas in the stock market, there's volatility. You don't know what you're going to get as far as an ROI this year, but you know that if you pay off that 20% interest, you're guaranteed to get 20% ROI. Can I attach more than one brokerage account to a single bank account? Yes, you can. Ranthon, a great conversation, Dr. Boyce. You had that you had with Sotomayor last night. I was really impressed with the way you handled his questions. Yeah, yeah, I had this debate with a guy named Tommy Sotomayor. I've known him for a long time through online stuff, and he asked me to come into his platform and talk. We're very different in a lot of ways, but I like listening to people and hearing their perspective, whether I agree or not. And he's and we were on there for 3.5 hours. I've never ever been on anybody's podcast for 3.5 hours. I don't even have that much time, but it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time. So yeah, that there was that. All right, so let's see. What's the link for the Dr. Boyce game plan? I think the link should be in the chat. I'll put it in there one more time. Tommy tried to trick you a couple of times. Yeah, well, Tommy's Tommy. He's got his opinion, and he's interesting. He's very interesting. I don't take the same approach that he takes, but again, I like hearing all kinds of points of views, and I really believe that he does want to do the right thing. I think it's more so a debate about what's the right way to do the right thing. I try my best to over time. I've tried to learn to try to have a little more compassion, but also accountability. I think that you have to have standards. I think that when we let go of our desire to have any standard for our community and everything's okay, I think that that's when we have, that's when we start to sink because it's like going to school. If you have no standards for the children, then the children are never going to really learn anything. You gotta set some kind of a bar. Let's see, George. Good morning, Doc. I know this question is not for this venue. I would like to know what happened to the third day of the swing trading boot camp. They did have the third day. If you didn't see it, they did do it though. They did do it on Monday. Two things. One, you can log in. Remember the swing trading boot camp, which was really successful. A lot of you seem to really like it. We're going to do something else with Lawrence Eggleston. He's a great guy, and I like the fact he's young. He's 25, and it's great for your young people. If you have sons or daughters, I think I think they'd like Lawrence, and that material is still available actually, so you can log in. The recording is available. It's up. Jermaine says the replay is up on the website. Yes. So you can go get the replay there. But then also, and also what I'll do is I'll text out you guys that didn't make it. I'll text out the link to the replay where you can go and sign up and get access to it and share it with your family because I think that you're gonna I've seen it happen 1,000 times where there's like a mom who has a son or a daughter that isn't interested in anything or not doing well in school and then they get exposed to like stock market investing, especially your sons. It just does something. I've seen kids completely transform because it's not that your son is stupid, it's that maybe he's bored or whatever he's doing in school is not interesting to him. And I've noticed a lot of little boys like to make money, and we've had children go through our programs who had $100,000 in their investment account before they finished high school. I'm not kidding. Constance Carter's son had tens of thousands of dollars when he started investing. So there is real money out there, and the sooner you introduce them to things that are going to help them to find ways to be economically successful, the more options you give them. So a kid who made $80,000, investing in stocks in before he finished high school is probably not going to just go and want to go get a job. He's going to because he's been exposed to other ways to make money. And so I encourage you to make sure you expose them to these things. Like for example, even the ability to sell something is always more effective than the ability to just fill out a job application. So get your kids involved, get them involved early. Stop thinking that you should only learn about economics when you're like 24, 25 years old or 30 years old or or when you get to college. No, I think kids can learn this stuff when they're 6, right? Why not? They learn how to play basketball when they're 6. We got people. I saw a 4-year-old girl who was doing the little the little where them fans at dance. They called her Miss Shirley. She was like 3 or 4 years old, and she was doing the dance like a grown up. It was a little weird because she was popping her hips and everything. I don't want to see no hip popping from a 3-year-old. But still, it was cute. It was cute. It was cute and disturbing a little bit. Not disturbing in a bad way, but don't be popping 3. Come on, man. But seriously though, like that. But also remember, this little girl. That means the little girl's a genius, right? Because she could move like a grown up, and she's only 3 or 4 years old. So where does that genius get applied? It tends to get applied in areas like dance and sports, entertainment, comedy, things like that. I'd love to see it also applied in economics as well. That same little girl could probably learn how to trade stocks at the age of 4 or 5 years old and wow the world in some other way. So give them options. Don't just put them in. a stereotype. Okay. All right. So anyway, oh, by the way, I meant to mention the support team can probably help you on some of that. So just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Write this down. Somebody write it in the chat, please. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Don't forget the THE. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They can guide you to whatever you need. Max Booker says, "What happened to the crypto info you said you'd share with us yesterday? I never got a text or email. Crypto info. I don't. What did I say I was going to send you? I don't remember saying I'd send you anything, but I can find something. We do have a crypto club. It's b1crypto.com. That's B, the number one, b1crypto.com. So you can join the crypto club if you want to, but I don't remember. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I I don't remember, but that's probably just me because I just so many things happen in a day. I just forget stuff. So, but I'll do something on crypto. We're gonna have a crypto guest come into class probably in the next 4 or 5 days. We got somebody on deck. All right. So next, Dr. Vibe, what were your thoughts about the chat last night? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was with Tommy Sotomayor. We had a good time. He's different from me, but being different doesn't mean you can't be friends. And I don't really get offended by people having different opinions from me, even if, we might define like even if I was talking to a white person who didn't like black people, that I'm not gonna get elevated. I'm not gonna waste my energy by letting my blood pressure go up because you don't like me. I'm not interested in you liking me. I just want to like myself, and that should be enough. So I kind of think that sometimes we get a little too caught up in how people feel about us. I think that we should focus on how we feel about ourselves and each other. All right, so next, Dr. Vibe, does the financial suggestions you share with us apply for blacks outside of America? Any place where there's money, it matters. I know Dr. Vibe. He's a great guy. He lives in Canada. And Canada is. I feel like Canadians are nicer people than Americans. My dissertation chair, his name was Andrew Caroli. He's at Cornell University. He's Canadian, and he was the nicest guy in the world. He hooded me when I walked across the stage. I'll never forget that moment. I was in tears, and I just appreciate that man so much. So he contributes to my theory that not all white people are evil. But he was from Canada, and I think that there was a difference there. American, there is something about the way white Americans deal with black Americans that's different from the way white people might deal with you in other countries. I have seen that, and but still, I think generally speaking, the idea of being financially secure is universal. It's something that matters to everyone everywhere across the globe. So even though when I talk about black economics in America, even though there's some things that are specific to America, I think anywhere on earth, anywhere in the diaspora, it does matter because black economic power, when it is finally obtained, is not just gonna be about America anymore. Black economic power is going to be obtained when African Americans have linked up and connected with the continent of Africa. Because Africa is the richest continent on the planet in terms of resources. That's why they spend so much energy draining Africa of all of its resources, is because they said, "Oh my God, this continent has so much stuff that other continents don't have," and Africa also is set for an economic boom um, because um, because it has more young people than every other place on the planet. Here's what's crazy. Check this out. Has anybody, let me know if you've heard about this, where they're all concerned about the decline in the global population. Anybody seen that? I know Elon Musk is really upset about it. That's why he had like a zillion kids, because he's like so scared that white people are going to disappear because they didn't make enough babies. But it's not just white people. Asian countries have that problem too. Guess which continent does not have that problem? Get y'all guess. Guess which continent has people that don't necessarily listen when Bill Gates shows up and says, "Okay, everybody take your abortion pill or whatever." Right? Everybody get everybody get your sterilization drugs, please, because we need to have fewer people. Anybody remember? Does anybody remember this? It's so crazy to me how the conversation used to be that the global population was going to get too big. Anybody old enough to remember that? That was all they talked about was too many people. We can't feed everybody. We're going to go to Africa and convince them to stop having so many babies. And thank God that millions of people didn't listen. They were like, "No, Mr. White Man, we're not listening to you because we know what happened the last time you came and helped us," right? And lo and behold, Lo and behold, I mean, and it wasn't just Europeans that were believing this. China had they implemented a one-child policy. Anybody remember the one-child policy China had, where they're like, too many babies, stop having kids, and you know what they did? They screwed up their culture. They screwed up the ecosystem. So you had a whole generation of young people who were like, well, I guess I don't want to have any kids because I'll get in trouble with the government. And they even disrupted the mating patterns of boys and girls. When I taught in China in 2006, in my class, the boys sat on one side of the room, the girls sat on the other. The girls were sitting there like waiting for the boys to say something to them, and the boys were like scared to death of the girls because there was no socialization they received on how boys and girls get together and make babies. One of my students actually told me that she said when I was in high school, if they found out you had a boyfriend, you would get expelled. Talk about scaring the shit out of these kids. I mean, it's terrible, right? So then when they become adults and it's time for them to get together and make babies, they're not doing it. You got people in Japan that might be more likely to marry an AI avatar than to marry an actual human being. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how you have sex with an avatar. I don't know. I'm sure that's a very interesting process, but avatars can't give birth to your kids. The only and so for black people, this goes back to when you talk about assets. One of the most sacred possessions we have in our community is the womb of the black woman because only the womb of the black woman can give us life. All of us came from a black woman. Every black person here came from a black woman. Some of y'all ain't black, but it's okay. We love you too. And so the reality is at the end of the day, sometimes I've told you all that there's a difference. There's like the plan. There's like masses plan for you. There's your plan for you, and then there's God's plan for you. Those are three different plans. Massa's plan needs to be taken off the table because Massa don't know as much as you think. When Bill Gates was going around Africa telling everybody to stop having kids, there are some people who are like, we're not listening to that. The Chinese government did that. Stop having kids because we think we have too many or whatever, right? Massa doesn't always know. The government doesn't always know. They just speculate sometimes, right? Or they have another agenda. And then even your plan is better than his plan because at least it's yours, but your plan should be rooted in God's plan, right? And to get to God's plan, that requires a connection to the higher source, the higher power. That's where consciousness kicks in. That's where instinct and your subconscious mind kicks in. That's where the universe kicks in, where you sit back and you just think about things. You meditate and you say, what matters to me in my life? What's important? I know what television is telling me is important. I know what school told me is important. I know what the government wants me to believe is important. But what do I believe is important? So a lot of times when I talk about financial stuff or economics, that's where I'm coming from. You're really talking to a man who's trying his best to connect to whatever God's plan is for me, what God's plan is for us, what God's plan is for the community. Because because there's it's kind of there's a power to that, and so leaning on your instincts, in my view, is the best way to become successful in this world. I really am happy. I don't pretend to be happy, and I'm happy because I started listening to that inner voice. Do you understand? So Africa is going to be economically powerful because they had millions of people who said, we're not listening to you. We're listening to something else. God tells me that as a mother, I should value having children. I should value giving birth. God tells me as a father, my job is to take care of my kids first before I start taking care of your little business, right? So now here's the deal. Africa is going to prosper financially because they have more young people than any other continent on the planet. Africa does not have all these population decline issues that Europe has, that Asia has. They don't. So listen to the inner voice. Don't just let people tell you what's true or not. These so-called experts don't know everything that they claim to know. Even during the pandemic, did anybody see how a lot of African countries were like, we're not taking your vaccine? And next thing you know, they find out that their COVID rates were incredibly low. Their death rates were really low. Again, I'm not telling you what you should think about these things, right? I know vaccinations and all that. I know that's complex, and many of us make different decisions. But I think that the problem that we have is we tend to think that the government's decision or white folks' decision is better than the decision that we might make for ourselves. And I think that that's patently untrue. I think that your decision matters too, especially when it comes to your life, your family, your future, and your community. Sovereignty, intellectual sovereignty, economic sovereignty, um, cultural sovereignty, very important. All right, so let's see here. Where can we find the debate? Asked Terrell. I did have it on my channel. I had to take it down though because Tommy had this video at the beginning that was going to get my channel banned, so I had to take it. It was up there for a while. I think it's on Rumble. So if you go to Rumble and you look up Tommy Sotomayor and Boyce Watkins, you can find it there. But I couldn't leave it on my YouTube channel. I said, man, you could be about to get me banned up in here. But and also I think on my Twitter, my Twitter's Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. I think we did stream on my Twitter. Maybe, maybe not though. You know what? I think I lied about that. It's not on the Twitter. So check his Rumble though. It's out there. It's out. And maybe we'll do it again. I just can't hit that video. I can't say, man, I can't have that video on my channel, man. You're gonna get me in trouble. All right. So Synovia, do you think it's wise to start a business and continue investing in stock at the same time? Yep. Yep. Because what happens is that the ideal portfolio is where you have something that's giving you cash flow and something that's giving you a stock and a flow. Stock, not stock as in stock market. I'm talking about stock as in like a stock room, like a stockpile, right? Stockpile of resources that gives you financial security. That's what wealth looks like. So your stock is part of your stockpile, your stocks, your real estate, or any other assets that you own. But then you have a flow, you have cash flow that allows you to add to the stock, right? Remember, income is not wealth. A lot of people think income is wealth. Income is not wealth. Income is the opportunity to build wealth. Income is water coming out of the faucet. That's a flow, right? So, but just because you have a flow doesn't mean that you're going to fill up your bucket, right? So when the flow comes out, you got to pull your bucket out so you can catch the flow and make it into a stock, and then you fill the buckets of water up and you put them in the back. So the next thing you know, if the flow stops, you've got plenty of water in the back. Do you understand? You got a big water tank back there that's going to make sure you stay hydrated, instead of actually just dying from dehydration, which happens to a lot of people. A lot of people, their flow is like their job. Their cash flow comes from that one job, and they're not filling their bucket up. There's no saving, no investing. I mean, it's really crazy to me. You'll hear people say, I can't afford to invest, but then excuse me, but then you just spent $2,000 taking your son to football camp, 3,000 with your daughter going to cheerleading camp and all these other things, but for whatever reason, when it comes to investing on behalf of yourself and your family, that's hard to do. I think that that's more of a cultural thing than anything. So changing culture, changing habits means making sure that you're paying yourself first and that your financial security is near, if not at the top of your economic priority list. That goes a very long way in your decision making. Next, April West says, I saw one of your books on Amazon called Everything You Ever Want to Know About College, but I didn't see the book on your website. Yeah, we don't shoot them out. We don't sell them out of our warehouse, but you can find it on Amazon. Just go grab a copy on Amazon. It's a good book. I wrote it when I was on the faculty at Syracuse. I don't talk about it much, but I know a lot of you have kids going to college like we do, and I gave all my kids a copy of the book. Just to get them ready for college. They were kind of surprised because I didn't talk about it much, and I think they were kind of shocked that I wrote the book. But it was written because I went to college and I was completely surprised by how easy it was if you know basic things. I was never a good student. My grades were terrible in high school, but when I got to college, I had a baby, so I was really scared about just I didn't have any backup economically. I was really stressed out, and I had this baby coming, and I remember just thinking, okay, education is my lifeline. That's the only thing I can think of that I know that can put me in a position where I could possibly have some money. So just committed my life to being the best student I could be, so I created my own little like process, my own system, not based on what I already knew because I didn't know anything. I based it on what made sense. You know, I based it on like I said, well, if people go to work every day, they work 8 or 9 hours a day, so maybe I can study 4 or 5 hours a day. I didn't know that most college students don't do that. Also, I learned from sports, playing sports, that if you want to be good at something, you practice consistently, and you prepare in advance. That's not what college students do. They don't prepare in advance. They cram, they wait till the last day and try to learn everything. So I put together little systems that really got me through. And as a result of me having my own system from outer space that nobody else knew about, because I literally came from, it was again, that's the God's plan thing, right? Like common sense instincts put together the system for me. So I wasn't basing it on anything that detached me from the culture that exists within a lot of college campuses. The culture of a college campus in many cases is not that of academic excellence. So by detaching from the culture, I just flew like an eagle. I absolutely blew it away, killed it. I not only did I have the highest grade point average of all the black students on campus, but I had a triple major. I got two bachelor's degrees in 4 years. I could have got three. I had one more class. I just didn't want to do it. Also, what else did I? Oh, I would take like 24, 25, 26 credit hours in a semester. All the other students were taking like 12 or 15. And I also had a full-time job. So that was really through an obsession with time management, understanding time as an asset that you invest. And I figured out that there's 168 hours in a week. And I started calculating it like a budget. I said, okay, if there's 168 hours in a week and I sleep for 8 hours a day, I get a full night of sleep. That's 56 hours. I have 112 hours left. If I'm in class for, I don't know, 18 hours or something, then 112 minus 18 becomes oh, what's that, 94 hours left or something that I still have. And I was like, so if I work 40 hours a week, I still have 54 hours left for studying. And then if I study 40 hours a week, I still have another 14 hours where I can go to every single party on campus. So by maximizing what I had and being conscious, this is what I wrote about this actually in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. This is an example, in my opinion, of what I refer to as financial consciousness. It's just an awareness. It's an awareness of your resources that you have available to you. It's an awareness of where those resources are going. It's an awareness of how to protect and maintain those resources. So in this case, it wasn't about money, right? I didn't have any money, so I wasn't investing money. It was about a more valuable asset called time. So I looked at time and I said, I have a time budget. There's 8,760 hours in a year. I can do a lot with that time. Right. So I encourage you, if you want to start really, if you don't have a lot of money and you want to start making investments and you want to be a heavy investor, don't start with money. Money's not that, money is these little worthless green pieces of paper that can buy stuff, and money matters for sure, but money's not the most important thing that you have. Really, time. Time is everything when it comes to investing. And I say this as a person who's done a lot of theoretical mathematics around wealth and where wealth comes from and how it works. Time is like, I'm here, y'all. I'm here. If you you think you can build wealth without me? Oh, well, watch what happens when I walk out of here. It'll be like when Emmitt Smith played for the Dallas Cowboys in 1994 and they didn't want to pay him. Anybody remember that? And Emmitt decided, oh, well, you don't think I matter, Jared? Okay, well, I'm gonna just sit on the sideline and let's see what happens. And in that year, right after the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, they lost like 3 or 4 games in a row. They were like, okay, come back, we'll pay you, right? So time is like that too. It's really hard to build wealth without time. Time is the great decider of just so many things, right? So one of the things I preach to the kids a lot about is like not wasting time, preparing, using time as your friend. Don't get ready for school 3 minutes before the bus gets here. Give yourself some time. Start 30 minutes before, an hour before, and it's gonna make everything so much easier. Well, the same thing is true with wealth. If you give me very little time, I cannot build wealth for you in very little time. If you say, well, how do I make $1 million in 2 weeks? I'm like, I don't know. Rob a bank? You know if any rich people you can murder and take their money? I'm kidding. But seriously, I don't know. Win the lottery, maybe. But if you say, Boyce, I need a 25-year plan that's gonna make my family into a millionaire family. Oh, that's easy. That's like Michael Jordan making a layup. Here, let's sit down and I can give it to you. I can give you the plan in about 3.5 minutes. It doesn't take long. If you have time, you've got everything. And that's why I want you to understand how wealthy your children are, because your children have something you may not have as much of. They have plenty of time. Your unborn children, your unborn grandchildren have more time than them. So what I'm saying to you is don't waste that time. If you use time to your advantage, there's so many things you can have that seem impossible to have right now. Right. So when I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you about economic plans, I don't want to really just talk about what we're going to do by next year or next month. I want to talk about what we can have done by the year 2075. Right. You know, we won't be here. Most of us won't, but the kids will be here. The grandkids will be here. And I want to set them up, right? I want them to watch this video in the year 2075 and say, I'll be damned, that's where it all began. right? And if you look at most major economic powerhouses, if you look at Coca-Cola, if you look at the NFL, if you look at major corporations like I don't know, what's another one? Maybe a Microsoft. You have to go back in time to see the origins of everything that made those organizations great. Microsoft is powerful. They're worth trillions of dollars because 50, 60 years ago, Bill Gates and his buddies were programming on a computer in a garage. So give yourself the gift of time, and you will find that nearly every economic hurdle is completely surmountable. But this get rich quick nonsense, that's a lie straight from the depths of hell. The devil made that lie up. So don't let anybody brainwash you with get rich quick nonsense, record deals and NBA contracts and winning the lottery or bet, investing in these goofy penny stocks or these blessing looms and all that. That's not how it works. Okay. So let me answer a few more questions and then we can finish up today. By the way, if you have an interest in getting your kids ahead educationally, stuff like that, or financially, you can text the word youth to the number 87948. So pull out your phone, text youth to 87948, and we'll send you stuff. We have flashcards, workbooks. We actually just finished some crypto flashcards for kids too. So our kids are learning stock markets, stock options, real estate, crypto, investing of all forms, etc. So we're covering all of that. We really want to nail it. And my goal is to persuade you that your kids should be in college at the age of 5. That when it comes to the economics, they should be trained to be as excellent at their economics as we are at basketball, football, etc. So the same way they have basketball camps, I want to have investing camps. The same way they have football camps that your son can go to, I think he should be an entrepreneurship camp. Because here's the deal: look, 99% of all black boys that play football will never make a nickel playing football. However, if you have that same 99% of boys learning business, entrepreneurship, and investing, then a large percentage of those boys can become millionaires, a very large percentage. So we're not trying to emulate the Jewish community. We're going to surpass them. That's how good we are at this thing. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. You said yesterday, you said you had a guest, a crypto dude. It was going to be Monday. Yeah, I thought he was coming in Monday, but apparently, Max, the schedule got changed. I didn't know it. And I don't even know. I mean, there's stuff going on behind the scenes where we're trying to figure out how to make this work. And so if it doesn't work, then we'll find someone else that's an expert in crypto and maybe we'll send out an email. And if any of you are really deep into crypto on a level where you can explain and break it down for other people, we may bring you in. There's also a sister that we brought in from South Central who's really good with crypto. I don't have her name in front of me, but I think I'd like to bring her back because we need a crypto update. All right. So, Terrence, Dr. Boyce, what's a good exchange to purchase overseas stocks like Hyundai? Most of the time, you can find them on, if you have an account with Schwab or TD or Ameritrade or sorry, E-Trade, or something like that, you can usually get those overseas stocks. Sometimes they show up in the form of what they call American Depository Receipts or ADRs. Dr. Vibe, with China taking over Africa, is there still hope for our people to hold on to Africa? Yeah, they're not going to get it all, but you're right. The Chinese are making major moves on Africa, and it's in Jamaica too. I mean, all around the world, really. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I think that there's going to be some competition there for sure. Terrence, what are your thoughts on the African leader Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso controlling their golden finances? I love it. I respect him. I think he's in for a big fight, but nothing great has ever been accomplished without a fight. So God bless him for being willing to fight and die for his people, for the cause. And I'm hopeful, and I want to believe everything is good. That there's not a lot of corruption there. Nobody knows with politics, but from what I see, I admire it because what's coming down to is this basic idea that says if it's our stuff, we should benefit from our stuff. And for whatever reason, because of the way things have happened historically, we have many scenarios where the originators of the commodity are not the beneficiaries of the commodity. I became disgusted when I went to Nigeria, and I know how much oil Nigeria has. Nigeria is one of the world's leading producers of oil on the planet, and so they should be living like the Saudis. They should um, you know, they should they should have wealth everywhere. And what happens in Nigeria, which is very sad, is that you have a few wealthy people, but you have a lot of poverty, just so much poverty. You would think it's a country that has no resources at all, and that's just kind of crazy. So So really overall it's really what he's really doing is he's actually just doing something that's completely logical. There's nothing wrong ethically with what he's doing in terms of just saying it's our country, it's our stuff. We deserve to benefit from this stuff as well, instead of these disproportionate partnerships where we get screwed half the time. All right, so next question here is Eric. Eric says, "Thank you so much. Because of you, my daughter is a two-time state champion in track. Wait, oh, she is a two-time state champion. Ooh, that's impressive. I was a track coach, right? And I'm a big track and field fan, so that's awesome. I was able to send her across the country because you taught me investing. All right, I love that. She has a 4.2 GPA. My son is going to Mars Hill University to play football with a 3.4 GPA. Without you, I couldn't have sent him to football camps. I salute you." Wow. Everybody type the word Eric in the chat. Everybody put Eric's name in the chat. Dad of the year. What? I love that. I love that. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, this is exciting. This man is able to pour into his family because wealth liberated him to the point where he can do those things that money can't buy, right? Money cannot buy the love of your children. Money cannot buy the ability to do things for your kids. Money can open the door for that, but money cannot buy the feeling that you have now that you are actually able to really show up for them in an extraordinary way. I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of your kids, and I can just tell you this is the reason why mastering our economics matters, because Eric could not be the super dad that he's become to his kids if he had to go work at some low paying job every day. It sounds to me like Eric has become an investor, which makes him into the superhero that his parents, or sorry, that his children obviously see him as right now. I mean, there's nothing better. I'm gonna tell you, just as a man, there's nothing better in terms of knowing that you can stand up and do something for your kids. You can provide and protect and all these things. And this is the thing about racism that bothers me, is that there are people that have always wanted to take that away from black men. They want to take away our pride and our being able to say, look, this is my family, these are my kids, this is my wife, we got this, right? And I believe to the core of my soul that there really isn't much of a place in the American economy for black men with these jobs. I'm not saying that you can't get jobs in order to make it through, to get to the next opportunity, but you got to look for the next thing. That's the point. Especially if you talk about so many men that have criminal records. What kind of job are they really going to give you that's really going to pay you the kind of money you need to really be the man that you need to be? You're going to have an economic plan that goes beyond just that job. Sure, if the job is all you can get the job. But maybe then you get a second job. Then maybe you get a partner who has a job as well. And then you're compiling your resources so that you can grow yourselves into investors. And then you start investing, and then investing becomes your job. And then your other asset that's making money for you, in addition to yourself and your partner, is the business. Now the business is like another family member that says, "Hey, you put 2,000 on the table. She's gonna put 2,000 on the table. The business is gonna put 5,000 on the table. Then next thing you know, you've got $9,000 or $10,000 to work with." Do you understand? So you can work for money. That's okay to work for money, but also what really works. The math is simple. This is just addition and multiplication. So if I'm working for money, that's cool, but it's better if I'm working for money and I got a wife that's working for money, maybe, if that's something we choose to do. And then it's even better if we have a whole family that's working for money. And then it's even better if we are able to take the money and use the natural fertility of money. See, money gives birth too. Money has babies too. And we invest that money so that that money comes back with more money. So now you've got a massive group of individuals, and as well as assets that are working together like a big family, right? I got my sister here, my brother here, my wife here, somebody's husband there, and then you've got the stock portfolio over there. They're in the family picture, smiling, right? And the real estate is smiling in the family picture. And now you've got this version of what I refer to as an economic gang, right? The economic gang is basically the way people prosper and succeed in America. It's when you have multiple entities, multiple assets, multiple things kind of working in the same direction to create the kind of economic force that is going to allow you to propel yourself into whatever position you want to be in. That's what power becomes. Power is connected to force. Force is mass times acceleration. What is mass? Mass is how much weight you have, right? It's how big the thing is, right? How big your family is. If your family's skinny and it's just you and you're doing it all by yourself, that's not as much mass as you and 8 or 9 other people and entities all working in the same direction. But then there has to be focus and acceleration, right? So once you are together and you have all this mass, you make a plan and then you accelerate toward the plan. You accelerate with intentionality, you accelerate with focus, you accelerate without fear, and then boom, next thing you know, you've got force. Force is power, right? So that is what black power looks like to me. It is at least black economic power. It is the ability to kind of shape your own destiny, sort of make sort of see your will and manifest your will in whatever you see fit. And I'm gonna tell you, everything in my bones tells me that the more resources you have and the more you apply those resources in a specific way, the more you're able to do that. So when Eric wants to be the forceful dad, Eric wants to be the dad who shows up, Eric wants to be the dad who manifests reality for his children by saying, I want my daughter to go to that school, I want my son to go to that school, I want my kids to have this, I want my family to have that. Well, his economic moves, his economic decision making has played a critical role in creating that outcome. So I'm super proud of him, and I know y'all are too. So way to go, man. That's extraordinary, brother. I'm very happy for you. All right. So next, I'm gonna finish up because we got class in a little bit, and I got a meeting in a second. So I'm gonna answer a couple more questions, then we're gonna bounce out. And we'll be back tomorrow though. So if you're not on the text list for this class, text the word morning to the number 87948 on your phone. Text morning to 87948. If you live in another country and that doesn't work, you can go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. Would you recommend borrowing from my 401k and putting that in the stock market? Says Lindsay. I'm not against it. I don't recommend selling or cashing in the 401k because there's taxes and penalties and stuff. But borrowing against it to get access to capital to make investing moves, not a bad decision. There are people in our stock options class who generate income by treating the ownership of stock like starting a business. So what they might do, and I've seen people do this, is let's say that you can go and you can borrow, I don't know, let's say $100,000 on a HELOC or borrow it against some assets that you have, and then you use that to go buy, I don't know, let's say 1,000 shares of some stock. Well, let's see, $100,000, $100 a share. Yeah, and let's say that you have this 1,000 shares. You can sell options on those shares, let's say every week or every month. And I've seen people generate thousands of dollars a month that way. So access to capital is what allows you to create income. See, income creates capital, but capital also creates income. They're like siblings. They're like brothers and sisters. So the stock and the flow, right? The water that flows out of the faucet allows you to have a water tank in the back that's filled up with water because the water flows in, you catch it in the bucket, you put it in the tank. Does that make sense? But then also when when the flow stops, you can actually create another water faucet that comes out of the tank, right? So the stock and the flow are connected to one another, right? So your cash flow should lead to your ownership in some sort of economic stock or economic base. We call it the capital base. And when you get that capital base, you can get cash flow from that. And this is where financial literacy can be so powerful. I think that's why learning stock options is probably one of the best moves I ever made. I didn't even know it was such a valuable move when I made it. I was learning it from a theoretical standpoint to teach it as a finance professor. But then I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Look at how much money people are making. This is crazy. So long story short, I encourage you to look into that. I think that that's beneficial. If you want to join our stock options class, feel free to go to drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. And also you could text the word money to the number 87948. I did a training called How to Make Money Without Working. So you can feel free to take a look at that as well. All right. So last question is for Valerie Gardner. Let's see, Dr. Boyce, this is Mommy Valerie. How you doing, Mommy Valerie? You had Dr. Frazier in speaking. How can we register for his conference? I know it's called. It was the FrazierNet Power Networking Conference. I don't know what their website is though, but I'm sure somewhere online. And I will be speaking at Dr. Frazier's conference myself, so I will be there as well. And I love Dr. Frazier. He's 80 years old, and he's just brilliant and amazing, and he's awesome, and he's one of the godfathers, and I have so much respect for him. So yeah, if you look it up, you can find it. The Power Networking Conference is a great place to network, and I encourage you to use that. The All Black National Convention happens the weekend of August 24th in Atlanta. That's a great place to network. There's going to be thousands of people there. Dr. Ken Harris confirmed that there's about six African presidents that are bringing their delegations there. Like it's going to be massive. It's going to be big, historic, and you guys will be the first ones that we offer the opportunity to buy passes to the convention. The teams just got to fix a couple things, but then they're going to be released, and I will release them here to you. I really don't want to. I'm not trying to beg anybody to come to spaces where they're not ready. This is almost like Harvard University. As Harvard doesn't want everybody coming to Harvard events. You have to be a Harvard alum. You have to be connected in some way. You have to be cultured for that space. They don't. Harvard does not go down the street begging people to come to their events. And I in this space, the only the one thing it has in common with Harvard, the difference is that we're more prestigious, in my opinion. We're more exclusive. We're not interested in any and everybody. I'm not going to be mean to people, but at the same time, you need to understand the power of true Black excellence. You need to understand that you don't need anybody to tell you how special you are, how amazing you are. Like the stuff that you've learned, the fact that you've had the discipline to come in here and listen to me rant every day about finances and all the other things that you've been doing, you are in a special, exclusive space. I know finance very well. It's very hard to get a PhD in this stuff, really hard. And the fact that you know these things put you light years ahead of everybody, not just ahead of Black people. You're ahead of the earth. You're ahead of white people, ahead of Asian people, ahead of Jewish people. I don't know any white, Asian, or Jewish finance PhDs that are literally teaching their people every single morning at 10 a.m. I don't, or at any time. There's not one. You can't find one anywhere. Right. So what I'm saying to you is I need you to just really accept the fact that you are special. You are extraordinary. You are bound for greatness. Just apply some of these basic ideas. Just do what comes naturally. And I guarantee you, you're going to see outcomes that are going to be amazing. And your kids are going to really be the ones who benefit the most from the investments that we're making now. What we're doing right now is we are building intergenerational infrastructure. We are building a cultural infrastructure that will last for hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years. We are doing something that is that's so powerful, so epic, so extraordinary that it's literally gonna lead to outcomes that we can't even imagine. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Keep it moving. You got this. We're built to win. And I'll be here with you until my casket drops. And hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'm just gonna be talking one morning and just drop dead at my desk, and that'll be all right. Don't be sad for me. Just be happy for me. Be glad for me because that's what I want. I want to die fighting for the things that I believe in because to me that's a life worth living. So bless you. Have a good day, everybody. I'm gonna get out of here before I start getting too emotional, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.